WLUW listeners. I'm Josie, and I'm hanging out here with Rolling Blackouts Coastal Fever. How are you guys doing today?
Hey, good, thanks.
Okay, cool. Well, I would love to know. We interviewed Camp Cope a few weeks ago, who are also
cool.
from Melbourne. Between you guys, Flying Colors, and them, like, what is that music scene like in Melbourne?
It's good. It's healthy. It's it's fun. There's lots of great music venues. It's probably more music venues per capita than anywhere else in Australia. You know, and there's some good radio stations, local radio stations that really help the scene and get around the whole thing and support everyone. So yeah, it's very supportive, and it's good now. It was awful for a couple of years there when it was all shut down, but it's getting back. It's coming back. So yeah,
good.
Yeah.
And it's all about the community. I think that really helps keep music going.
It does, yeah.
It's this ecosystem it's you can have the venues, but without like the community radio stations and without the punters who want to go week in, week out, then that's not enough. So you need all of those things like working.
Absolutely.
In tandem, yeah.
Yeah, totally. Well, cool. I would love to know how you guys ended up with Sub Pop Records, and what that means to you as independent artists to be working under that label.
They're a great label. It really feels like a family. The Sub Pop crew, we're looking forward to getting over to Seattle on this tour and being able to see everyone again. It's been so long.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, we got there. I'm not exactly sure how our manager sent them our EP. I think. Like, is that as simple as that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we got a good review in Pitchfork, and then that's how they found out about it. I think it was something like. Yeah, I think it was that, and then it just went from there. Like, yeah, we didn't play in front of them. It was just over,
It was very automatic.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
But then we met them after we'd signed, and then as soon as we met them, it just felt so good. I remember it was the first time we came to the US was 2017 after South by. We did South by and then a little tour with Tennis. We played a few shows with them, and then we went over to Seattle and met them, and it was just they just felt like family straight away. I know people ban that around a lot, but it really did feel like that way. So yeah, they're a great label and they're great people. So
awesome. Well, cool. And other than Oasis, the Libertines, and Pink Floyd, tell me some of your musical influences.
Whoa.
I know, a lot of names, right?
Oasis, Pink Floyd, musical influences. Yeah. I mean, sort of like the Stone Roses as well, I guess.
Yeah.
That kind of vibe. But there's when we first started out, it was very much this. There's this sort of underground scene in Sweden, in Gothenburg, of bands like the Embassy, and they were just making these weird pop tunes that we sort of started making because we were kind of like a bedroom project to begin with.
Oh, cool.
Just making songs, recording into a computer and that kind of thing. But then once we had to play live and make it more of a big live show, we sort of, I guess, influences became more like the Clash.
Totally.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. So in a past interview, you mentioned Endless Rooms is a response to your last record. Can you specify that a bit more? Is that themes, musicality? Tell me a little bit about that.
yeah, well, I think it was you that said that, Joe, but I agree with that point. or that you were saying that albums are often a response to the album before.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it was a bit that way. Well, the second album, Sideways to New Italy, we did in the studio. And then for the third album, we wanted to go back to not working in a studio, just being in a place that we just like being in, studios are quite sterile. Obviously, there's benefits, but no windows, and when you're recording in the city in which you live, you've sort of got all the trappings of just, day-to-day life. Whereas going away and being fully invested in what you're doing, I love that, and we love that. And so yeah, we set up at this house that is belongs to the auntie and uncle of two of the guys in our band, Joe and Tom, the Russos. So we've been there a bunch. They just have parties there every now and then when auntie and uncle, like, yeah, it's free, you can just go and use it. And we've gone and written songs there a lot in the past. So yeah, this album was like there, and it was a response to that, just sort of the sterile thing. It was just a lot more natural and just easy. The whole process of this album was easy, whereas the second album was a lot more we were a lot more meticulous, and we were like put the magnifying glass up to every single bit and like go, could it be better, could it be better? Which is, there's obviously pros to that approach, but this one was just like coming out of the pandemic, being able to be back in a room together. It was just this natural sort of thing of just like, let's not second guess. This feels good. Let's back ourselves on that. And that was the whole process for this album. It's just natural.
That's great. That's beautiful. Honestly, you guys covered my next question because I was going to ask how that affects your writing. And it seems that that was a complete major shift from one album to the next. So that's beautiful. Yeah. And so how do you stay inspired when it comes to your music? How do you try to avoid feeling forced when writing lyrics and coming up with music?
Yeah, you try and I sort of like move between fictional and autobiographical a lot. Mm-hmm. When we first started, I was inspired by like just trying to write songs that were, conceptually interesting. Then when we started playing shows a bit more, and some of the songs were played on the radio and stuff, and then you're playing like bigger shows, and then you're singing these purely fictional songs, you start to go, oh, this is weird. Like, why am I singing this? And then I sort of, moved back towards the autobiographical, and then, but that, I don't want to go too far that way because it's not, I don't really necessarily want everybody to know about my boring day-to-day life, Like, I feel like I want to write about more interesting things than that. But I think it's just like moving between those two worlds of like fiction and autobiographical. That's like, I get inspired in that zone, and then I just try and pick things out to fit into that zone.
Yeah, that's great. Somewhere in the midst of all of it, right? That's wonderful. And then this line, let's talk about it. Through endless rooms we walk, trying to find somewhere to lay down. That is the final line on that album. Can you just tell me what endless rooms means to you guys?
Yeah, I think we can say what it means to us, but we didn't write those lyrics because that's Tom, who's not present.
Okay.
But I know that he wrote that sort of line is like initially sort of a bit of a gag, because like he was talking about by the end of a tour, when you're just sort of like bone heavy, you just sort of like tour becomes a process of trying to walk through a series of rooms trying to find a place to lay down. That was just like that was just like, it was sort of like a throwaway line. And oftentimes when you're writing lyrics, you have a sort of a placeholder line. But oftentimes as well, the placeholder line tells you some meaning that you hadn't intended initially. And I don't know whether whether this is something that he identifies with or not, but for me, that completely rings true. It's like, I think that's what people do to find themselves, find love, find home, feel settled. Is that you just like walk around for a little while until you find it. And that's what I love about that song. But I didn't write the lyrics.
That's okay. I think you did a good job speaking for him.
Yeah.
And then final question. I feel like we have to ask this. Who are you excited to see at Lollapalooza this year?
I'm really pumped to see Dua Lipa, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately we're not here tomorrow, but I would be, we've seen Idols a few times. We've played some shows with them, and haven't seen them since 2019, I guess. Mm-hmm. So yeah, would love to be able to catch those guys again. But yeah,
you'll catch them next time.
We'll bump into them again. Yeah,
that's great. Thank you so much, you guys.
Sweet. Thank you, Josie.
Woo.